What's going on, guys? It's your boy TV here at SMB, coming at you with a fresh little upload today. Weekend upload. Happy Saturday. Hopefully everyone's relaxing. This last week in the market was a little rough. Not for me personally, but I imagine if you're trying to day trade in this past week, it was a little rough because we got a whole bunch of chop. We are in that hangover zone that I kind of talked about in my last video after this insane rally that we've had the past couple weeks. And now we are just, the market's really just waiting for something else to move the market. And we are just at a point where price is fully in agreement. I mean, this is the daily chart on the S&P. We have about We've logged about 6 trading sessions in this range from 3,900 to about 4,020. So that's pretty rough. We have been getting nice movement for the past for a while. We've been getting nice directional moves. We've had a little choppiness around here, a little choppiness over here, some down here, but we've gotten good movement. But now we are just in that lag, that hangover. We had a crazy, crazy month, that 8% month over October. Let me go to the weekly, actually. I think that'd show even bigger dingus. Yeah, we've had just some crazy green weeks for the market. So it's appropriate that we get these nasty hangovers, these choppiness hangovers. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video today. Just right now it's clear the market is, we've gotten earnings, we've gotten good inflation numbers, so now the market is just at the point where it's like, all right, now what? So I'm going to talk about now what are we looking forward to. So this next upcoming week, 3-day week, Thanksgiving obviously affects that, and then we have an early close Friday, so 4 trading days, half a trading day on Friday, I believe. But it is going to be, you guys bookmark this video, and if I'm wrong, I will come on here and embarrass myself and talk about how wrong I was. But I think this next week is going to be the mother of all choppy weeks. There's hardly any news coming out. Here on the 23rd, we do have some unemployment news, which we want that to be high numbers for unemployment. We want unemployment going up because that's what the Fed is trying to make unemployment do. So hopefully we don't get a crazy surprise on there. We do get FOMC minutes on Wednesday as well, so that could also be a market mover. Usually it does do a little bit to the volatility of the market. It never really flips the direction of it, though, not as nearly as impactful as something like CPI or the FOMC meetings or PPI or any of that inflation stuff or unemployment stuff. And then we just have new home sales. So we get a good amount of economic data on Wednesday. And then we also get that consumer sentiment from University of Michigan, which is usually it can move the market. I mean, it's just a big headline when it says consumers not confident. So that can sometimes move the market. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to take the week off. I'm not going to just going to do nothing. I'm probably not going to trade. I'm going to watch the market. I'm going to just keep planning for the rest of this year. But I would be very, very, very careful. The market makers are the only people that make money in these markets where we just chop around because if you're an options trader like I am, you are just going to try to day trade options. And if you're trying to day trade options, you're hoping for big moves. And when you don't get those big moves, unless you're like a scalping day trader, I am not personally. I try to get the big moves, but you're just going to get chopped around like crazy. Like you are just going to want to bash your head against a wall because of how bad you're going to get chopped out. And you can just see this, look at these. This is the hourly chart. It's just been choppy session after choppy session. Like here's a session right here, chop fest, session over here. We open up at 3,900 and we close up here. We had like a 50-point intraday move. Otherwise, it was just nasty chop and then ugly chop on Friday as well. So I imagine this next week will be a lot of that, and people are going to get roasted because they're going to try to force trades, but you just cannot do that when you know it's going to be choppy. And I don't know it's going to be choppy. I'm just saying it probably will be. So be very, very careful about that. You want to have the dry powder for the big moves, and the big moves are going to come from these events I'll tell you about right now. So looking forward, we have, where did I have that here? We have the next big news. I mean, there'll be stuff. There's stuff coming out. We get PCE prices. That's a inflation metric. So that comes out December 1st. That's something you're gonna want to watch out for. We get a lot of crude oil stuff, mortgage stuff, housing prices stuff, consumer confidence. That's kind of biggish, but you're gonna wait for December 1st. We're getting our next news about unemployment, our next news about inflation on the 1st, and then following that, we get more unemployment. Following that, of course, PPI comes out December 9th. That's huge. We get our consumer sentiment coming out that day. Wholesale inventories coming out that day. So those are big news coming out. And I imagine until that point, the market can be very, very choppy. We won't. And if we do get any breaks out of this, if we get a break to the upside where it looks like we're going past 40-50, I imagine that can be crazy, crazy bull traps. And if we see a breakout to the downside, that might just be a huge bear trap. So I just see traps on either side right now. I'm going to wait for something big, meaningful that's going to move the market. And I don't think we're going to get something that will be big and meaningful to move it until these headlines come out. So, like I said, the 9th, we have that PPI number coming out. The 13th, this is huge. Monstrous. This is going to be a crazy week. This second week of December is going to be crazy, 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 crazy. We have our PPI number come out. That's not that week. But then we have CPI come out on the 13th. And then we have the FOMC rate decision. Their meeting is that following day. And I think it begins on the 13th as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it does. 13th. And that's a huge meeting because we get our summary of economic projections, which that is huge, huge, huge because it tells us where they think inflation will be this time next year, this time the following year, and where they think their rates will be by this time next year and this time these next few years. So that's huge, huge, huge. I don't think we're going to see a big move down until that. I think we're bullish until then, but not bullish like tech-wise or big market-wise. I just think we're bullish in the sense that we won't see a massive drop like we have been seeing this entire year where we just get these crazy red days come out. But then not on this calendar. You're always going to have Powell is going to speak at random events throughout this entire next few weeks. These things just come up. Like the Jackson Hole meeting, it was just some random event where they talk about stuff, and he might just say something really, really bad because we haven't get news about the Fed is not happy that the market is going up. They are not happy about that. They want the market to keep going down. They're trying to fight that inflation. They're like, wait, inflation's not gone yet. So we have that CPI number come out. We have FOMC come out. Crazy. Cannot. I mean, this. Let's look at the S&P. The days where the market moves are these CPI days. Boom, CPI over here. Boom, CPI over here. Massive market moving days. And then over here was CPI before that, I believe, right? Yeah, so we get these crazy, crazy days where the CPI comes out. And now we are looking for continuation of inflation to the downside. We need to see it continuing to slow down. If we get a red hot inflation read that's way above expectations, it's rug pulling. We're going back down to 3,500. If we get a nice inflation report from PPI, PCE, and CPI, then boy, oh boy, we are going to see some green, baby. But then we got to remember the FOMC meeting is that week. So it's just going to be super duper volatile. I think it'll be some good money making opportunities. But yeah, we have that rate decision come out, and they're going to raise rates. So 9 out of 10 times that's bearish for the short term, like that day. But the following price action usually tells where the market is thinking because it just gets so crazy volatile and then it picks a direction. So that's why FOMC day trading, that is very difficult, but following it, catching the move after the initial move is usually where I like to try to make my money. But yeah, so that's what's happening. That's what the market is going to give us these next few weeks, and I just wanted to talk about that because I think we're just going to see. I said before this video, I'm just going to keep saying it. We're going to see a lot of chop. We have this 200-day moving average on the S&P 500, which is exactly what we rejected off of back in August. So we could just head up to that. We could chop sideways and just come up and just kiss that, and then FOMC meeting, we get the dump. It could just rip right through it. All is clear. We're good to go. But This is still a play it by ear market where news drives what's happening. This is not a bull market where the market just goes up because things are good. This is bear market where things go down because we get bad news. And if we don't get bad news, we get crazy rallies that make it look like things are good, and then bears come back in and dump it back down. So you cannot forget this is still 2022. This is still the bear market, but just don't get chopped out. These choppy days are just so hard on us normal traders because they can just destroy option premium, and that is just exactly what they do. But looking at VIX, we have VIX. It's still coming down. It still looks like it wants to go down further to the 20-ish area. Looking at the dollar, so the dollar here is looking like it could come up. I imagine the dollar is going to come up and retest 109, which that will be a big move on the dollar, and that will, I imagine that would pull the market down should we see the dollar head back up to that level. But I believe it will retest one of these levels, probably 109 to the 110 level. Got to watch out for that. That's massive market moving. This one chart right here, DXY, that moves the entire market. It absolutely can rip it back down if we get the dollar ripping. And then looking at the bonds, the yields, the 10-year is still below 4%. That's great. We could see a retest of 4%, but for the time being, it looks like bond yields are coming down, and that is good news for the stock market. Looking at the 2-year, 2-year is still really elevated. It found support at 4.3%, and it's still super elevated, so that's still not a good thing for the market. But really, things just look, I don't know. Things just look very, I don't know. I mean, 2 weeks ago, after we got, was it 2 weeks ago? When we got that CPI number? Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. When we got that CPI number, I was like, yeah, super bullish. Even before the CPI before that, it still looked bullish. But we are just in that zone, man. We're in that zone where we just don't know. And I'm looking around at stocks, and I see Amazon. Amazon looks like it wants to keep going down, man. It is looking rough. It rejected hard off of this 104. It was heading, show you what I'm talking about. It was trying to go up and fill this gap it had from its earnings report, and it just, sellers are here at Amazon on 104. Looking at Tesla, Tesla is, oh god, Tesla. Elon is destroying Tesla right now. It is gone straight down ever since the Twitter deal went through, and it looks like it wants to keep going down, but it is at a significant, massive level of support, past support right here at 182. And I don't imagine it will go straight through that, but if it does, we can absolutely see Tesla go straight to 154, easy peasy. Looking at Apple, so Apple's got a very interesting setup. Apple has been kind of a chop fest in itself. It has had huge violent swings to the upside off of its earnings, and then go straight back down, and then a big violent rip back up from the CPI data. So it is kind of underperforming the general market at the moment, because the Nasdaq is well higher than it was back in October, but Apple is still lower than it was back in October, if you see what I'm talking about right there. So that's something to watch out for. I think Apple might have a very difficult time getting back above this level of 155. I don't see it happening this next week. I really just do not think there's anything that's going to move the market this next week. You never know. Some crazy news can always come out, and this is all invalidated. But just from what I think I know right now, I don't think it's going to. Looking at AMD and looking at semis in general, I'll just look at the semiconductor index. Semiconductor index, it ran up to that 200-day moving average and rejected off of it hard. So this one is looking really overextended. If you look around, I mean, the bigger names in the index is TSM and NVIDIA, and TSM has just had a crazy rally off its bottom. It looks like it's going to see some downside eventually. It just has to. Like, look at this completely bonkers rip up to the upside. It has gone straight up about 40% in like about 10 trading sessions. So I think that will see a hangover. Same thing on NVIDIA. It is already showing signs of weakness up here. It's looking like it does not like this 166 area. It has its 200-day moving average up here too, which right on that trend line, mind you. Isn't that a little wacky? How about that? So we could see a bounce and go straight up to 178. And I do see sellers waiting. Where have sellers been waiting all year? They're still there. They're still going to be up there at 180. So we could see a pullback from that. AMD, same thing. It ran up to resistance. So really things are just sitting right next to their resistances. And that is why I am just so 50-50 on the market right now. We're at resistance, so logic tells you to short at resistance, but I would still not even go short. Because it is still very bullish. We still have that inflation news in the back of everyone's mind. So, what else is there? Microsoft, yeah, Microsoft's back up to this little zone. It's back up to that zone right there. That was a demand zone. It turned into a kind of supply zone. So I don't know. It's tough. I'm just trying to nail the point in that I get excited when things look exciting. When things look like it's going to the upside, I get excited. I tell you guys. But when I look at the charts and I see a lot of hesitancy at these price levels, it worries me. And then I just look at there's no earnings, there's no big news coming out until Wednesday, so we straight up have 2 days where we could just see volume like we have been. And that's another key thing. You look at the volume, and this volume's just been depressing. Friday had pretty decent volume, but Thursday and Wednesday, look how low. Monday, I mean, these days have just been nothing. We got that CPI push, and then the volume was just like, bah, it was gone. It was just gone. I mean, you look at the Nasdaq, same thing. Look at this volume, dude. It's so low. It's as low as we got back here in August. So that just tells you nothing's really going on. People aren't buying. People ain't selling. It's just what's going to happen next. Everyone wants to know. So don't try to outsmart the smart people. The smart people are telling you be very careful. Don't trade the chop. And I'm not a smart person by any means. I'm just trying to say careful. Trade your plan. Don't try to catch like 2% or 0.2% moves on the S&P because it can just flip flop all day long this next week. And yeah, but there are things to be excited about in December. December is going to be a crazy big month. So I'll let you guys know. Yeah, I'll catch you later. Peace.